original Saturday Night Live, a Howard Cosell variety show. Jane Curtin finally revealed Kate and Allie after 40 years. At 77, the TV star says she loathed the original title, felt nothing after winning 2 Emmys, and kept a terrible secret from admirers. Although America loved her character, Jane commuted to Connecticut and hid from celebrity. TV's favorite sitcom's behind-the-scenes story is finally revealed. Not what you expected. Jane Curtin was born 1947 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Mother took care of the family, while father managed an insurance office. Irish Americans from County Clare, Ireland. Jane grew up with strong Catholic traditions and the intellectual buzz of Harvard and MIT. This mix of rigorous ideals and keen thinking stuck with her. It influenced her sharp, quiet, and slightly rebellious humor. Her upbringing was organized. She attended Newton Country Day School, a rigorous Catholic all-girls school. The school stressed faith, discipline, and etiquette. Jane learned to stay calm and straight even in absurd situations. It would be her comic secret. Other comedians had energy, but Jane's power came from remaining still and letting the audience come to her. After graduating in 1965, she attended college in New York City. At Elizabeth Seton Junior College, another Catholic school, she began her education in a bustling city. New York was musical, protests and innovation. Jane took it all in. 2 years later, she returned to Boston to study at Northeastern. But it felt wrong. She made a major choice in 1968. She quit school to attempt comedy. That decision stunned everyone who knew her. Jane always complied. She entered a dangerous and uncertain situation. Her starting point wasn't zero. Comedy was her kin. Her cousin Valerie Curtin was an actress and writer, and her uncle Joseph was a radio host. Growing up with 3 siblings helped Jane read a room and perform several roles. Sometimes peacemaker, sometimes passive spectator. She learned comedy timing and tone from her familial dynamics. Losing her older brother and sister later in life deepened her performance, even when she was joking. TV star Jane Curtin didn't start out that way. At 21, she quit college for something new in 1968. She joined Cambridge, Massachusetts' tiny comedic ensemble, The Proposition. It wasn't fancy. They played 6 nights a week, sometimes 3, at a little theater. Sharp, political, and dangerous sketches. The job was hard. Jane persevered for 4 years, learning to keep calm under pressure and deliver punchlines with her trademark cool, dry style. Night after night, she improved in speed and sharpness. She quit in 1972 after almost 1,000 shows. Bostonians knew her even if she wasn't famous. She later co-wrote and starred in Pretzels, an off-Broadway musical. The late 1974 production ran for over 100 performances. She and some old Proposition pals produced the show from scratch. The sketches depicted city life. A little sad, funny, and honest. One depicted Jane as a homemaker dreaming of performing. Another allowed her to alter characters easily. She wrote, created, and performed, showcasing her various talents according to critics. Theater wasn't always profitable. Jane worked in ads between shows. From 1972 to 1975, she sold soap, cereal, and even posed as twins in a deodorant campaign. It may not seem like much, but these small jobs taught her how to use cameras, hit targets, and stay calm under the craziest scripts. It was true that she could sell anything with a serious gaze, as she joked. Although these ads weren't flashy, they improved her talents and provided her a camera familiarity that would be invaluable later. 1975 followed. Saturday Night Live was a New York rumor. A few individuals told Jane about a new show and that she may fit in. She attended the first audition with pals, expecting little. When they called back, she thought it was a meeting. She arrived unprepared. She panicked and remembered a screen test sketch she had in her suitcase. She performed it with Gilda Radner, another auditioner. It works. Producer spotted something. Quick thinking, precise delivery, timing. That moment won her a spot on an unknown show that would become legendary. No one knew what SNL would become when it debuted. Jane joined the original cast in 1975 for $750 a week. Though she had never done live television, she had the skills. While other characters were noisy, wild, and always attempting to outdo each other, Jane played things differently. She remained silent. She didn't push her ideas or battle for airtime. Because they hired me, she figured they'd employ me. It wasn't laziness, it was strategy. She lived peacefully with her husband, dog and garden, away from the mayhem. She worked, didn't party, or seek attention. Big changes occurred in 1976. Chase left the show, and Jane ran the weekend update desk. She began spreading phony news to millions every Saturday night. She maintained her calm, quiet demeanor from years prior. She was reliable alone, or with Dan Aykroyd or Bill Murray. The point-counterpoint parts were legendary. Jane would reply with a dry retort to Aykroyd's insults like, "Jane, you uneducated slut." It was harsh, wild, and unforgettable. It worked because Jane never broke her deadpan pace. Jane established her part as the show became popular. In a chaotic cast, she was the grounded straight woman. She didn't require wild wigs or screaming for laughter. She knew how to handle the camera, respond, and highlight others. Few sought this role, but Jane made it vital. She said her commercial job prepared her for that type of acting. Weekend Update made fighting unnecessary. That job kept her steady and cheerful. Jane struggled with the audience despite her achievements. In later interviews, she said she didn't like early SNL viewers. She claimed she thought viewers were foolish, nor was it arrogant. It was anxiety. Jane tuned out the crowd to cope with the weird, untested presentation. She secluded herself and worked, changed over time. People's reactions to her were seen in public, excited, shaken, overwhelmed. She knew the show wasn't a job then, meant something. Though she didn't see it, others sensed the energy. Jane Curtin became a Saturday Night Live staple in the late 1970s. Even though she made people laugh every week, her time on the show was hard. However, one moment remained with her most. Weekend Update's 1978 point-counterpoint sketch. "Jane, you foolish slut," Dan Aykroyd muttered without looking away. This line was supposed to shock and amusing, a joke about noisy, theatrical TV debates. Audiences adored it. A catchphrase emerged overnight. Strangers still approached Jane and repeated it years later. In Seattle, youths outside her trailer said, "Jane, you uneducated slug." Clearly sketched, but cleaner. TV Land's top 100 TV catchphrases included the iconic line. Jane was conflicted. It was humorous, but she knew it wouldn't work today. She became famous for the sketch, but behind the scenes were boring. Jane had a strained connection with the show's star, John Belushi. She was honest. She said he was addicted. He became increasingly unsociable by the third season due to his drug addiction. He was caught looking through her purse, presumably seeking drugs or cash. She told Lorne Michaels, the show's creator, to act, worried and enraged. His death is imminent. Her admonition wasn't effective. Belushi also told her he didn't think women were humorous. But Jane stayed focused. She wasn't shaken. She performed and showed up. She repeatedly proved she was one of the show's strongest characters. Jane stood out because she was distinct from the cast. Jane always went home after the show, while others partied hard. She never drank or used drugs. In an entertainment industry where cocaine usage was common, she stayed clean. She left the studio and went home to her husband after each episode. instead of after parties. This caused some of her castmates view her as a buzzkill, the group's square peg. Jane didn't care, staying true to her beliefs. She realized her actions paid off years later. She persevered when others burnt out or became addicted. Despite the drama off-camera, Jane created some of SNL's most beloved characters. Among them was Primate Conehead, the straight-faced alien wife of a space weirdo family. Dan Aykroyd, had the idea of filling up the TV screen. He combined that with Easter Island's large stone statues. They were meant to be French pinhead lawyers, but Lorne Michaels suggested they become a strange alien family. Aykroyd's louder Beldar was matched by Jane's quiet, solemn Primont. Audiences liked Coneheads. After 11 episodes, they got an animated special, a movie, toys, and a Frank Zappa song. Jane says filming in the suit was difficult, since Aykroyd's sweating filled the cone with water if they worked too long. After Jane Curtin left SNL in 1980, things became worse. After appearing in one of TV's most talked-about shows, she found herself aimless in Hollywood. She described those years as stressful, yet curiously pleasant. All of it exhausted her. She rarely saw SNL alumni outside of work. Parties weren't her thing. She stopped attending because writers looked awful, and it felt like a gloomy post-mortem. She auditioned and filmed pilots from 1980 to 1984, but nothing worked. She also avoided attention in public. Fame wasn't easy. She wanted to disappear because strangers would say terrible things to her. Late 1983 brought her something unexpected. She was offered a new show,